was her who was never going to release pictures of the children with King Charles. It was her who's so determined to protect their privacy.
Something of a reneging on the deal to keep this trip private.
No wonder there is now international revulsion over this decision to go public with the most intimate details of their summer family holiday.
For days, Britain's most aggressive photographers had no proof that Meghan Markle and her children had even returned to the country. No airport photograph, no blurry image outside a hotel, no shot of a vehicle arriving at Highgrove, no glimpse of the Sussex family entering Althorp. Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet moved through the United Kingdom without the press capturing the one picture every outlet wanted. The visit appeared to have remained completely private. Then Meghan revealed it herself.
Yeah, we love family snaps, and she's offered us a little photo dump of the recent visit to Portugal and the UK.
One carefully selected Instagram photo dump did what the British media could not. It visually confirmed parts of the family's secret trip, pulled Princess Diana back into the headlines, and raised fresh questions about whether Meghan had respected the boundaries that supposedly made the visit possible.
They are so full of nastiness and getting their own feelings back on everybody that they don't care.
The most controversial image looked simple at first. Harry and the children were walking along a green path with their backs toward the camera. Harry and Archie appeared to be holding large bouquets. Reporting soon connected the setting to Althorp, the Spencer family estate where Diana spent part of her childhood and where her grave is located on a secluded island.
It's ghoulish. That's the only word that can explain Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sharing a private picture of their so-called private children, Archie and Lily, on their so-called private vigil to lay flowers at Princess Diana's grave for the first time.
The picture did not show Diana's grave. That distinction is important, because the internet immediately began describing it as though Meghan had photographed the burial site itself. She did not. But critics argued that the photograph may have captured the family walking toward the private memorial with flowers. And once that interpretation spread, the peaceful holiday image became the center of a furious royal argument.
Meghan Markle takes what should be a solemn private family moment and exploits it for clicks and money. It's so incredibly disgusting, and I can't help but imagine Prince William would be incensed. There's nothing wrong with them visiting Diana's grave, but why did she have to disrespect Harry and her children by posting about it?
Why would such a personal moment be placed inside a public vacation carousel? Why include the one photograph guaranteed to turn a family trip into a global story about Diana? And why do it after the Sussexes had apparently benefited from an extraordinary level of secrecy inside Britain? This is where the controversy becomes much bigger than one photograph.
Diana's brother, the Earl, had said no cameras, and by that he meant no camera crews, but he clearly didn't mean a camera phone, which means, of course, when they went over to the island, there was obviously a camera phone with them. Is there photos? Are there videos? You know, we've all heard talk of the Diana documentary that Harry is thinking of doing next year for the 30th anniversary of her death, which is also incredibly ghoulish.
Royal commentators have claimed that Harry and Meghan's return came with strict expectations. No images from the royal reunion, no posts from royal property, no interviews exposing private conversations. The family was supposedly being given a rare chance to meet behind closed doors without the encounter becoming another Netflix scene, magazine exclusive, or chapter in a future memoir. Those conditions would hardly be surprising.
The pictures that they need to secure for the documentary next year do not actually have to be filmed by a camera crew. Because, of course, one of the main reasons why Netflix was so happy with the Harry and Meghan documentary, which, remember, was a hit. It's the only show that has been a hit as part of their Netflix package.
Before we continue, one quick thing. One thing I've realized is that most families don't have their important information organized in one place. That's exactly why I recommend the Family Vault, a simple, printable, and fillable organizer where you can keep everything from important documents and insurance to medical information, passwords. You'll find the link in the description, or you can simply scan the QR code on your screen. Now let's get back to today's story. For years, private discussions involving the Sussexes have had a habit of becoming public. Family arguments have appeared in interviews. Palace tensions have been described in books. Personal memories were used in documentaries. Even conversations that once seemed deeply confidential eventually became material for a worldwide audience. So this time, the entire operation was controlled. The Sussex family reportedly traveled in dark vehicles. Their locations remained hidden. There were no public arrivals and no arranged camera moment. They were able to move between places connected to the royal family and the Spencers without becoming a public spectacle.
She commoditizes her children and the memory of her deceased mother-in-law for the world to see. This, perhaps more than anything else, exposes what a hypocrite and liar Meghan is. It also reveals the disdain she has for her mother-in-law, who is everything she isn't.
That level of secrecy was not accidental. Journalists discussing the trip said a clear photograph of Meghan with Archie and Lilibet in Britain could have been worth an enormous amount of money. One former royal reporter suggested the price could reach 6 figures. Still, not one photographer secured the image. That tells us something crucial. Harry and Meghan can have privacy in Britain when the visit is handled discreetly. They can travel without constant chaos. They can enter private estates without being surrounded. They can remain invisible when the details are not announced in advance. The press did not expose this trip. Meghan's account did.
This succession of pictures, and there you'll see all of these pictures have a particular meaning. All of them are designed to clap back at certain elements of our coverage over the past few weeks. She knows exactly what she's doing here, including the weird cosplaying of Princess Diana.
And that has made years of complaints about unwanted attention look very different. The Sussexes often speak as though privacy means the public should never see anything they did not personally authorize. But that is not traditional privacy. That is complete control over distribution. They wanted secrecy, while secrecy protected the reunion. Then, once the family was safely back home, they wanted the attention generated by carefully chosen images. The difference is enormous. A paparazzi photograph would have removed their control. Meghan's photo dump allowed her to decide the moment, the angle, the children's visibility, the emotional tone, and the exact images that would dominate coverage. She did not lose her privacy. She converted it into publicity on her own schedule. The suspicions surrounding the trip had already started before the pictures appeared. Soon after the reported family meeting, People magazine published claims about Meghan's emotional response to the visit.
It is kind of creepy. She's got the Princess Diana bathing suit. She's not, it's odd. It's just odd. It's also truly elitist. We already know that Meghan doesn't really like to hang out with anyone who's worth under 10 million, really.
The story suggested she felt sadness about the situation and offered details that sounded far more personal than anything released by the palace. Commentators immediately questioned where that information came from. Was the magazine somehow guessing Meghan's private feelings? Had someone inside her circle shared them? Was the Sussex side quietly shaping the story while publicly respecting the supposed media blackout? There is no public proof showing exactly who supplied every line. But People has repeatedly carried sympathetic and detailed Sussex coverage, which is why royal watchers saw the article as another possible briefing from their camp.
Meghan's brand, as ever, is really Meghan. So you can't really separate between her personal Instagram and as ever Instagram. They also have the Sussex Instagram. And I think this is really about Meghan trying to shore up her own image as just a sweet mom with her kids and her husband.
Some argued that the emotional story had already violated the spirit of the agreement, even before Meghan posted a single photograph. Then, the photo dump landed. There was no image of the children standing with King Charles. There was no photograph showing Meghan inside Highgrove. There was no smiling portrait of Harry beside his father and Queen Camilla. That may mean the most sensitive part of the meeting remained protected. But the photograph still transformed a hidden royal visit into Meghan's newest online storyline. They confirmed the family had been in Britain. They placed the children in a location tied to Diana. They triggered speculation about what happened at Althorp. And they ensured that Meghan, not the palace, controlled the first major visual account of the trip. That is why calling these pictures harmless family memories does not end the debate.
If this were a one-off, you'd probably give the person benefit of the doubt, right? But given this is now like such a trend, I do believe it's purposeful. Do you?
Of course.
The family is allowed to share personal photographs. Meghan is allowed to protect the children's faces. Harry is allowed to show moments from his own life. The hypocrisy accusation comes from the way privacy is presented as a moral demand whenever outside media want information, but becomes flexible when Sussex publicity requires warmth, sympathy, or attention. Archie and Lilibet are almost always photographed from behind. Their faces remain mostly protected, yet their presence is constantly clear enough to produce stories. They are shown walking through meaningful locations. They appear during holidays. They are included in carefully chosen family scenes. Their growth, clothing, hair, and surroundings become topics of discussion even when their faces are hidden.
Just when you think Meghan can't be any more despicable, she goes ahead and proves us wrong. Who shares pics of a private moment that looks like they're visiting Diana's gravesite? There's Harry and Archie carrying flowers. Have some respect and keep it private. Disgusting, no shame.
It creates an unusual system. Reveal enough to keep the audience interested, but conceal enough to make every future glimpse feel rare. Critics describe that as controlled scarcity. Each partial view creates more curiosity. Each photograph becomes more valuable because a complete image is still unavailable. The mystery never disappears, and the headlines continue without the Sussexes technically abandoning their privacy position. One commentator went further and wondered whether the lack of clear images could increase the eventual commercial value of a future family portrait. That is only speculation. There is no evidence Meghan plans to sell a reveal of the children's faces. Still, the theory gained attention because Archie and Lilibet have become woven into nearly every major Sussex narrative. They are discussed in relation to charity, family healing, security, royal titles, Diana's legacy, Britain, and Harry's relationship with King Charles.
You too are insane and ghoulish. You too have no respect for Princess Diana's resting place. And also all of us who have to put up with your constant briefings about privacy. And then you post the most intimate photos that we have never seen of members of the royal family unless they've been taken by paparazzi. Like, no, we don't want to see Meghan's ass cheeks, okay, while she's watching her children in the water. Please.
When criticism becomes uncomfortable, the children are private. When the brand needs emotional weight, their silhouettes return. And this time, those silhouettes appeared at the location most closely connected to Harry's grief. Althorp is not simply an attractive English estate. It is part of Diana's personal story. It is also the place where her brother chose to bury her away from crowds, cameras, and public intrusion. Diana's grave sits on an island in the estate's oval lake. Charles Spencer has explained that its isolation was intended to protect the site and make unwanted access difficult. The water itself forms a physical barrier between the memorial and strangers. That context is precisely why the photograph caused such a strong reaction. Again, Meghan did not post the grave. The image showed a path, members of the family from behind, and what appeared to be flowers. Reports and the setting created the connection to Diana's resting place.
To have been taken as they made their way to lay flowers at the grave of Princess Diana. And of course, within hours, predictably, confirmation from their propagandists at People magazine, who tried to paint this as some type of beautiful moment.
But Meghan would have understood what the photograph suggested. She had many other images available. The photo dump included relaxed family scenes, water, meals, travel, and ordinary vacation moments. Any of those pictures could have represented the trip without reopening the most painful subject in Harry and William's lives. Yet the Althorp image was selected. The flowers were visible. The location was recognizable enough to attract reporting. And Diana immediately became the headline. Royal critics accused Meghan and Harry of using Diana's memory for clicks. Some claimed a private tribute had been repackaged as social media content. Others asked whether additional photographs or videos had been recorded for possible use in a future documentary. None of that has been confirmed. There is no evidence proving the family visited Althorp mainly to gather commercial footage. There is no announced production showing that this exact moment will appear on screen. Those allegations remain theories from hostile commentators.
It was her who was never going to release pictures of the children with King Charles. It was her who's so determined to protect their privacy. And then this dump on Instagram, when finally it's revealed by people within the mainstream media that life within this marriage ain't happy. And let's be honest, no wonder if you wear a cosy and shoes like that, but that's a whole other story.
But the theories did not appear from nowhere. Harry and Meghan's Netflix series relied heavily on private phone footage and personal photographs. Viewers saw recordings from major moments that had originally been captured as intimate memories. Later, those memories became part of a hugely promoted commercial documentary. That history means a phone camera at Althorp will never be viewed as completely innocent by critics. They now ask whether more footage exists, whether private family material is being archived, and whether it could later appear in a project connected to Diana. The fact that people instantly suspect commercial motives reveals the deeper problem. Trust in the Sussexes' handling of private material has almost disappeared. Prince William was quickly pulled into the controversy as well.
Probably the last thing in the world Diana saw was the flashes of the camera, and now here is her daughter-in-law trampling on her memory with a camera in tow for her own greed.
Several commentators predicted that he would be horrified or furious if the image showed a family walk toward Diana's grave. There has been no official statement confirming William's reaction. No palace source has publicly declared that he erupted over Meghan's post, but his involvement in the debate is understandable. William has spoken about his mother without turning every private act of remembrance into public material. His grief has largely remained separate from his public brand. He has not treated Diana's burial place as a location for social media storytelling. So, even without a public response, critics imagine the situation from his perspective. A site connected to his mother is suddenly at the center of another Sussex media battle. The photograph produces reaction videos, angry headlines, speculation, and millions of online impressions.
The Netflix Harry and Meghan doc had a bunch of their home videos, and by that I mean their phone videos on them. So this would likely be appearing there.
Diana becomes the emotional engine, driving attention back toward Meghan's Instagram page. That does not prove Meghan intended to hurt William. It does show why the image was never going to remain a simple holiday picture. Harry's role may be even harder to explain. He has spent years describing the trauma created by cameras, publicity, and his mother's death. He has argued that his own children need protection from the pressures that shaped his childhood. He has blamed media intrusion for some of the deepest wounds in his life. Yet this photograph did not come from a hidden photographer. Nobody chased the family through Althorp. No newspaper invaded the estate. The image came from the family's own collection and was released publicly through Meghan's platform.
The only reason that they made this visit was in order to secure those pictures. Because remember, they didn't want to make this visit because it goes against, and we'll come to this later, but it goes against what they've wanted to achieve in terms of the security.
If the walk was connected to Diana's grave, Harry allowed one of the most private experiences his children could have with their grandmother's memory to become part of a worldwide content cycle. That contradiction cannot be blamed on the palace or the press, and it may create new problems for the reconciliation Harry supposedly wants. King Charles reportedly met the family at Highgrove for less than an hour. Commentators described the encounter as formal rather than an emotional afternoon of complete healing. Queen Camilla was reportedly present, with some accounts suggesting her role was partly to ensure there could be no later disagreement over what had happened or what had been said. Whether every detail is accurate or not, the atmosphere sounds less like a relaxed family reunion and more like a meeting shaped by caution. There were boundaries. There was controlled access. There was silence.
But that's who Harry has married. He married a woman who cares nothing for him, his pain, or the memory of a woman who would probably have despised her. Meghan's always about the clicks, and this revolting picture is absolutely proof of that.
Then, the Sussex narrative started leaking into public view in small pieces. First came reports about Meghan's feelings. Harry later made a brief public comment that his father was doing well. After that came the Instagram photographs from the wider trip. No single detail revealed the entire meeting, but together they revived the exact fear the palace has whenever Harry and Meghan are allowed back inside. Private access may eventually become public material. That fear could make every future meeting more difficult. Why would palace staff offer relaxed access if they expect emotional briefings afterward? Why would William trust another family encounter? Why would Charles Spencer welcome repeated private stays if photographs from the estate might later appear online and generate controversy?
The Mail then went on to report that they did believe this to be Althorp, with their diary editor Richard Eden writing, "It is understood."
One royal biographer predicted that Spencer could be furious enough to refuse another visit. That was her opinion, not a confirmed statement from Diana's brother. But the basic risk is obvious. Private estates remain open to guests only while the owners believe their boundaries will be respected. When that confidence disappears, access disappears with it. The timing of the photo dump created yet another fight. The images appeared close to Prince George's 13th birthday, while photographs of William and Catherine's eldest son were still receiving major attention. Some critics immediately claimed Meghan was attempting to overshadow George by placing Archie back into the headlines.
I just don't understand how Harry could want to do this. This is for his mother.
Before we continue, I want to mention something really quick. Organizing your family's important information is one of those things most of us know we should do, but we keep putting it off. That's exactly why there's the Family Vault. It gives you one place to organize your important documents, insurance, medical information, passwords, and more, so everything is easy to find when it's needed. You'll find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. That's all. Now, let's get back to today's story. There is no way to prove intention from timing alone. Children sit in aircraft cockpits. Families release vacation photographs. A post appearing near a royal birthday does not automatically make it a planned attack. But Meghan's launches and announcements have repeatedly been analyzed against the royal calendar. That reputation now follows every post she makes. Even a coincidence becomes suspicious because audiences have seen too many moments when Sussex publicity arrived beside a major royal event. And Meghan understands that reaction better than almost anyone. She no longer needs an inflammatory caption. She can post an unexplained image and allow the audience to build the controversy around it. A green Althorp path, flowers in Harry and Archie's hands, the children facing away from the camera. No direct reference to Diana's grave. No explanation of where they were going.
You have to admit, this is pretty sickening. The holiday pictures are fine. So Tasha's actually saying the holiday pictures are okay. But to take photos of the children carrying flowers on their way to lay them at Diana's grave is not something that should be shared with the public like a fun day out. It's ghoulish.
Just enough information to trigger questions, while leaving enough uncertainty to deny the strongest accusations. Then friendly reporting provides additional context. Critics attack. Supporters defend. Headlines multiply. Meghan remains the center of the story without giving a single interview. That is an extremely effective publicity strategy. Whether it was deliberate or not, the palace will probably never release a furious statement about an Instagram carousel. William is unlikely to publicly describe his private reaction. Charles Spencer may choose silence rather than create another round of headlines. But royal anger is rarely communicated through shouting. It appears through distance. Future invitations do not arrive. Meetings become shorter, access becomes more controlled, doors that opened once remain closed the next time.
Meghan Markle is wearing the same cut swimsuit Princess Diana was famous for. The royal grift describing it as absolutely mental, and Meghan's moles saying that it's psycho stalker behavior.
If this trip was meant to demonstrate that Harry and Meghan could return to Britain, follow the rules, and slowly rebuild trust, the photographs may have undermined that effort. They reminded the palace why secrecy was required in the first place. They reminded William that his mother's memory remains one of the Sussexes' strongest sources of public attention. And they reminded everyone that Meghan's definition of privacy seems to depend on who owns the photograph and who receives the publicity. Maybe the post was nothing more than a mother sharing summer memories. Maybe it was designed to counter rumors that the Sussex marriage was struggling. Maybe Meghan wanted the world to know she had returned to Britain and been allowed close to royal territory. Maybe the Althorp picture was chosen because Diana's name guarantees a reaction unlike almost anything else. We cannot know the private motive behind every image, but we do know the result. The trip was hidden until Meghan decided it should no longer be hidden.
The shot of Althorp is just, it kind of makes your stomach turn a little bit.
The British press failed to expose the Sussex family's movements. The palace maintained its silence. The people protecting the visit did their jobs. Then Meghan pressed post. Now, the private reunion has become another public battle. The Althorp visit has become another argument about Diana. And Harry's attempt to reconnect with his family may face even tighter restrictions next time. Because criticism can be survived. Bad headlines eventually fade. Instagram controversies are replaced by new ones. Trust is much harder to recover. Once a family believes that access may be converted into content, every future invitation becomes a risk. So, was Meghan's photo dump an innocent look at a family holiday, or a carefully controlled leak from a supposedly private British reunion? Did the Althorp image respectfully connect the children to Diana, or turn an intimate family tribute into online publicity? And after Britain protected this visit from every outside camera, should the Sussexes be trusted with another private royal meeting? Share your verdict below, and subscribe to Hollywood Yesterday for the next development in this royal fallout.